Complexity taking on Trademark Esports.
Now, the important thing to note about this is obviously it was a remake.
Yes.
So, unfortunately, we didn't
Out of
really
our
get to
control.
see bans and locks and all that. But what do you know? It still seems pretty much like more of the same, guys.
Yeah.
More of the same. You got your Keep of the Forest, strong, I'm going to guess, strong dual lane mid of Engineer plus X. And then maybe maybe it looks like they're going to run a Jungle Keeper. So, like, maybe Engineer Pebbles mid, Jungle Keeper on the side of Legion. Wretched Hag is that Suicide, and then Torture is a solo short. What do we got for Complexity here? We got Meraxis, Tempest, Magebane, Glacius, and Ophelia. Most likely that Suicide Tempest, Complexity runs it from time to time. I've said, and actually they've agreed with me, it's only viable. I still think it's terrible, but it's only viable if you are Hellborn because you have the Ancients to work with.
Yeah.
And obviously with them running two junglers, you can safely assume that Ophelia is not going to be the running Suicide.
Yeah. Okay, so we're in the game again. Being a replay cast and everything, as you said, they did have to do a remake for whatever reason, and as a result of that, not able to see the actual lockpicking stage. But in all pick mode, so they quickly picked up their hero. So again, to kind of clear up any confusion that you may have there. But hey, we're going to see Magebane. You know, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but it is a case of, well, if we haven't seen Magebane in forever, and we've brought that up several times lately. It's like, where the hell did this hero go? He just kind of disappeared for whatever reason. Still feel that he's pretty powerful, though. And, well, clearly Complexity here with a lot is on the line again. This is for first place here in the first ever Diamond Cycle here for the HoN Tour event. Now, what exactly is on the line? Well, it's actually a $1,500 difference, $4,000 for first, $2,500 for second. But I think more importantly is actually the point split, which is actually a 1,500 point split. You get 4,000 points for first, and then only 2,500 points for second place. So obviously a good amount of points still for either first or second. But again, the split is pretty significant, and also seeding will definitely play a role come those grand finals way at the end. And obviously that's where the points can definitely add up, especially for Trademark Esports and Complexity. So they are playing for quite a bit, and then, well, there's the usual, you know, these two teams. Again, I don't think there's really any more reason to really stress on it, but the rivalry is there. They love to compete against each other, and, well, they both think they're better than the other. So tdM has had Complexity's number lately, but Complexity, once again, they took the first game in what was the first series. So there we go. Kind of a quick recap right there. Of where everything stands. But as you can see, the game is kind of starting here, so getting an idea of how things are going to be laned up here, Trough.
Well, they're doing something totally different. They actually have a Tempest as a solo mid right now, and they're manning up in the long lane with an aggressive tri-lane with Ophelia. And, many times when you pick Ophelia, you can viably run an aggressive tri-lane. This is just simply not typical Complexity. They don't normally do this. They don't normally contest the long lane. Maybe they feel like because it is a solo Torturer, most likely, and it is, that they can dive him very easily on with a Glacius, or very easily early on with a Glacius and Ophelia if he gets a good creep. He's already got a Skeleton King, so, you know, if they have the means to, and they do, they can definitely dive this Torturer and get some very easy early kills on to this very squishy hero.
Yeah, definitely an interesting strategy coming out here. Again, B-Kid playing the Meraxis, going against Noob G playing that Torturer here. So we'll see if Jesse on Ophelia looks to roam down there. You mentioned he has a Skeleton King already. Currently running into Engineer there, being played by Insania, who's kind of roaming around himself. Seeing what the hell was up, because obviously tdM, I'm sure they were maybe a little bit confused there, or a little bit taken back themselves. They see Tempest mid, they're like, wait a second, that's not what we expected. Well, neither did we. So Complexity doing a good job of kind of switching things up there, you could say, and I guess even catching them off guard. But here we are, again, the start happening. Again, Engineer was roaming a little bit, but now he's back to the middle lane and going to keep pressure on as much as possible against Tempest. But Tempest seems like he could be a pretty interesting middle hero, especially with those minions, of course, and he can do some decent counter-harass himself against Engineer as well as even last hit here. So obviously, Tempest mid, not something you really expect to see, but I don't know. It seems like to me that he could actually have a fairly good time here in the middle lane.
I think, well, I don't know. It goes both ways, especially against the Pebbles with a Hatchet. I don't know, because Pebbles with a Hatchet just got so much base damage, and on top of that, if you get your minions, if you get your elementals caught at off guard for just 1 second, that's free gold for the enemy team. So you don't want to do that. You got to be very careful. And those minions run it, those elementals, I should say, run at such a low movement speed. I want to say it's like 240. Let me look at here. It's 250. Okay. So if you don't get those to split before you get a lot of harass damage onto them, then you're basically feeding free gold. But yes, the idea is there. It's sound. You can, you know, deny the creeps and get CS from afar and have lots of last-hitting potential with all those creeps. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that pans out. Now, Engineer, where did he go? He's actually roaming at the top lane. He got a bottle. No, he didn't have a bottle, but he's grabbing that invis rune at the top, it looks like. Now, I wanted to mention this too. Magebane got pooled a lot of regen early on. He's actually gone through a lot of it already. He got pooled a full thing of runes of the Blight. He's already used 3 of those in addition to 2 of his own. So he went through 5 runes of the Blight already. He has 1 left and a health potion. So Zai's doing a lot of harassment early on. Yeah. As you can see, if you look at the hero damage, I know it's early on, but 45% compared to the next highest, which is 20.
Oh, wow.
So just to show you how much harass he's done and how much regen Haxor's had to eat through.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And again, we've talked about that, how, you pull up the regen for your hard carry, especially in this case. And Haxor's getting that now, I will say, despite taking all that harassment. I mean, his farm is decent here, 16-0 start. That's actually one of the best, if not the best in the game, up there with the best at least. So looking pretty good. Torch in the meantime at the bottom lane, a little bit of pressure coming out. Meraxes and Ophelia with a big dive, actually. Chessie trying to hero block him a little bit right here. Axe will land. There's a Quake Stun on the creep wave from the Legion team is here. Will it matter? Noobg will fall in the end. Beacon picks up the Bloodlust kill in favor of Complexity. So catching the tail end of that, but that's the benefit, especially of having an Ophelia in that pseudo trial and aggressive, where she will be able to dive with you. And obviously that's exactly what they did right there. Noobg tried to live as long as possible, but wasn't able to accomplish that in the end. So good job by Complexity.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I was syncing up with you. I was a little bit behind. But yeah, that's what you have to do against that lane. That Torture is very susceptible to ganks. And when you have a passive jungler, this is what people don't do enough of. When you see a passive jungler like Keeper, and if you look at the lanes, it's quite obvious that they're going to run him as a jungle and not as a suicide. You have seen, actually, in the last game we saw with Complexity versus tdM, they ran on Legion a suicide Keeper and then 2 different dual lanes, a dual lane mid and a dual lane bottom. But you can't do that here when you have, say, okay, Engineer, Pebbles. You can't really have, like, I mean, I guess you could. It just wouldn't be that great of, like, a support Torture supporting a Wretched Hag bottom. Like, that doesn't really make sense. So when you have this information, actually, there's a lot of action in the mid as Limp gets taken out to more roam from Chessie and Chessie and Franzi, as Chessie actually gets the last hit right there, and credit for the kill. So good roam from them early on. But yeah, as I was saying, when you know there's a passive jungler, having that information, you can use that to your ability and man up on lanes that are running solos in the short lane.
Yeah, and you mentioned from the very beginning, the aggressive pseudo trial, and especially with an Ophelia, it can do work. And Chessie here so far, he no doubt is doing work. Obviously, he's been involved in both of the kills, including that Bloodlust kill at bottom, and obviously what we saw there in the middle lane with Limp on Pebbles getting ganked. So Chessie doing some great work here for Complexity to get things kicked off. And obviously some great news for them off to the better start, at least when you look at the hero kills, and definitely around a 13-1400 goal lead, not too shabby, with experience being around the same currently. Keeper the Force in the meantime being played by My Nuts here. Of course, the captain for Trademark Esports. He's kind of just been doing his own thing. Obviously, he's very aware that Ophelia's in this jungle, but he still managed to actually get some decent farm himself, it seems like. So not too bad there. But the Catman champion still being controlled by Ophelia here. And you see she once again maybe wants to try to set something up, but instead going to go back to the creep wave and continue to farm it. Torture, of course, being smart, he's not going to push up himself. He knows that he's very susceptible here. So he instead is going to kind of roam around the jungle, but he's standing right on top of this ward of sight. Obviously, he's not even aware of that. So really won't be able to get much going on. Is Noobg here? I mean, he has 14 creep kills, but very, very minimal, and especially with that death, only sitting at 145 gold per minute currently. That goes back to Limp, of course, playing this Pebbles. Obviously, with that death slowing him down, but even after that death, he is farming 290, nearly 300 gold per minute, actually, which, of course, can be good news for Trademark.
I'm actually still very surprised at how well Zai is doing up in the top lane. He's a suicide hag, relatively bad attack animation, and against a Magebane, who has an amazing attack animation, and a hatchet, and lots of cooled regen. Actually, meanwhile, Moonmeander gets caught out in the mid by Limp, and that's actually Insania playing the Engineer, a very, very deadly combo. And of course, early on, he can't really do anything to get away. He has no escape mechanism, so catching him like that is pretty much a safe kill. But yeah, as we're talking about, I mean, I'm actually still surprised how well Zai is doing up against Haxorn. Yeah. Now it's starting to snowball because Haxorn is just getting the levels, and it's getting to the point where you just simply cannot harass him out of the lane. But, before this point, he's still got 24 CS, 2 denies. That's quite good for a Suicide Hag against a Magebane that was pooled basically 200 gold worth of regen.
Yeah, once again, I mean, Zai with that Suicide Hag, he just seems to do so well. That's just really on any hero. Middle lane is going to be pushed in here by Trademark Esports, but at what cost? Pebbles may be in a little bit of trouble. Nice Stalagmites. Preemptively right there. Will it matter in the end? Axe will land from more axes. Tempest trying to get a range for a stun. Another axe landing right there. Pebbles being chased, but no, he will be fine. It looks like he is going to take the stun, actually, but I still think Limpet. No, the Tempest ultimate actually coming out. That quick Engineer keg stun, though, from Insania will stop it, and that will be the end of that. So Man, I mean, Complexity made that a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. I mean, Moonmeander choosing to use that ultimate right there obviously had the great idea, but Insania, he was ready for it, and sure enough, landing a great kick on there.
Yeah, you had the idea, and I think that's the play you had to make. You needed to try to get the kill, and I mean, they tried to go for it, but Insania, he made the good play as well. And I think maybe even actually if you use that ultimate a little bit before your second stun went from the Glacial Blast of Tempest, Ophelia's in a lot of trouble here from Zai. One more Sonar Scream, it doesn't even matter. A couple more auto attacks, and Jesse gets caught out just a little out of position right there. I didn't really see the beginning of that, but Zai picking up a very, very easy kill. A solo kill like that, on to Jesse.
Yeah, it was really a case of Jessie just simply roaming around her own jungle, trying to, continue her farm, and Zai just happened to be roaming in the jungle himself. I don't know if he saw Jessie initially go in there, and that kind of gave him a heads up, but with that Sonar Scream, and at the time I believe it was level 3, I mean, he actually doesn't even have Bat Blast yet. That's actually kind of interesting. Being level 7 doesn't have his Bat Blast just yet, but, in the suicide roll, maybe figures it's not necessary just yet, and obviously with that kill, I mean, it wasn't even necessary right there, so yet still getting the kill. So again, Zai doing a great start here for Wretched Hag, 240 gold per minute, and currently has an Invis Rune activated. Again, no Bat Blast, but he is going to come into the bottom lane, and actually Glacius may be in a little bit of trouble as a result. I don't know if they saw him use the Invis running down here with the Ward of Sights, but Glacius very likely going to fall if they open this correctly. In fact, Torture running in with a Ghost Marchers activated. Down goes Glacius. Moraxis in a little bit of trouble, but B-Kid will be fine there. So good catch again by Zai, leading the way, and now a bit of a push going to come out from Trademark.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's just one of those things that's like, as a Suicide Hag, you use a lot of mana when you use your Bat Blast. I still don't agree with it, really. I think having 1 point of Bat Blast is better than having an extra, 50 damage from your Sonar Scream. Okay, yeah. 75 actually does jump up quite a lot, but I still think having the ability to do an extra 300 damage is still always a little bit more sound of a decision. But nonetheless, he just doesn't want to use the extra mana because it does cost, a whole other, how much mana? 250 mana.
Yeah.
So.
It definitely is a good amount. So, okay, kind of a unique decision there, but hey, it seems like it's been working out so far here for Trademark Esports. And speaking of that, the tower successfully killed, so good for them. But the top tower in the meantime, Complexity doing a bit of counter push themselves. The Elementals are all here. The Replicates are out. And this tower will fall as Wretched Hag was nearby, speaking of her, but Zai just not willing to get close enough to go for the deny attempt. So Complexity kind of exchanges the tower, and just like that, we're basically even when it comes to a gold difference. But now you pull up the gold per minute chart, a couple of interesting things to talk about. Limp here on Pebbles. He is a phenomenal start here.
Yeah.
He is actually nearly 400 gold per minute. Again, he died earlier. He was the second death of the game, I believe it was, getting ganked by Chessie in the middle lane. But he is at 400 gold per minute, one of the best CS scores in the game, I'm sure. Yeah, 56. He's up there with Magebane. Looking good. But speaking of Magebane, you got Magebane and then even Moraxis, who's also up there for Complexity, though. So it's kind of a give and take for both sides there.
These are expected CSs. I mean, like, he's in a lane against a dual lane, or he's in a dual lane against a friggin' Tempest mid. Moraxis is in a dual lane. Well, basically a tri-lane against a Torture that they were diving. So, yeah, it can be expected that this CS is great. The other thing that's just even better for Pebbles is the fact that they have more tower kills for them. They have the 2 tower kills compared to the 1 that Complexity has. Now, I am very happy to see that Moraxis, he's going for that straight Blink build. Now, it looks like Pebbles has got a couple more build-up items. He's got the bottle and the power supply and even a TP right there. But Moraxis pretty much just has that Vestments as far as a build-up item. So he's going to have a quicker Blink. And if he can make plays with that Blink before Pebbles can, and that's going to really help jumpstart and open up the map for Magebane.
Yeah, the mobility is going to be huge for both these teams, of course. You got Moraxis with the Portal Key, of Magebane being able to blink around himself. Eventually, a Portal Key on Tempest will be huge. So on the Legion side, however, you got Pebbles, Wretched Hag, of course, with his Blink, Keeper of the Force, and even Torture are definitely Portal Key nominees here for the Legion side. So both sides have the potential to definitely have that gotcha, as I always like to call it. But Moraxis, being played by B-Kid, he does purchase the Portal Key. It's a matter now being delivered to him once the courier actually gets back to his base. But again, we'll see how active he actually becomes once he gets that, or if he's going to continue to farm for the time being, because again, he is getting some very good farm in the meantime. So, and then you got your Magebane, Haxtron again, 331 gold per minute. It is starting to look better and better. Sustainer has been finished, so he is well on his way to that early Runic Cleaver, of course. Limp is going to be purchasing his Portal Key here soon, though, himself. So again, will we see Limp, start to be active with it? He's actually going to bottle up a double damage in here, too. If he can get that Portal Key here in the next couple seconds, which he very likely could, he could actually definitely get a very, very easy and quick kill here once he gets that delivered.
Yeah, he can give anybody but that Moraxis, at least at this moment. And you know, the rest of the Hellborn team is going to have to investing in those missed investments. You see Moon already has one of his own. And there's the combo in mid for Pebbles to get even more gold. He does have that portal key. He already used it. He's going to need a little bit more mana right now to actually go with the combo. But yeah, right now he can give anyone, especially with that double damage.
Yeah, he's probably going to activate it right here. In fact, there we go. And he's going to start using those bottle charges. So he will have enough for his combo, of course, switching his power tread or wow, steam boots to agility right there. And going to get the maximum use out of it, of course. So very smart play. And actually, Mumieta needs to be careful. If he goes up even a little bit more, he's going to be dead right there. But he actually, his spider senses are tingling. He's going to run away. Actually going the Strider's route, by the way, on top of the Ring of Sorcery. So something a little bit different right there. Usually don't see Striders on Tempest, but I guess maybe because of the circumstances, felt that it was necessary. But Pebbles won't be able to get that gotcha kill. It will not be a surprise anymore. He did show himself right there. So, of course, the Complexity is very aware now that he definitely has that portal key.
You know, I thought about this. Sometimes it's like, oh, man, like right there, it's like he could have just hit himself and they wouldn't really know. But the thing is, most good teams will suspect, and they will have a good idea. So sometimes, honestly, even showing your portal key is like, it's like, here, I got my portal key. Now you're going to have to play differently because you know I have this. And it can almost be a good thing, in a sense, showing them that you have that. Because every time you go into fog, they don't know where you are, and they're thinking potentially that you're going to gank them. But when in reality, you're just farming the creeps or whatever. So it's a similar idea to, you know, just farming in your own jungle if you have like an M4. Like, they don't know if you're coming to gank them. In the meantime, you're getting tons and tons of farms. So.
Yeah, very true. In fact, I mean, you see Tempest right now. He's kind of just roaming around here in the middle lane. He's trying to find something to do.
Yeah.
Not exactly sure where to go, but again, maybe that's part of it is because Limp, with that portal key, he knows that he has it, is currently, well, he's at the bottom lane. No, he's actually back at base. So again, in his mind, I mean, he's missing an action right now.
Exactly.
And he might be setting up a gank. So what do you think about, speaking of Tempest, I mean, what do you think about the Strider's route?
Oh, I think Striders are fine. I mean, a lot of people do get the steam boots just for a little bit of extra HP, and oh, he might get gone on right here. Pebbles is looking to jump him, but they do have a ward right here in the mid from Franzi that was placed to give him a little bit of extra sight. So, yeah, but his farm is pretty crazy at this moment, 430 GPM. But Striders on Tempest, I have nothing to say about it. I think it's just a fine pickup. It's going to give you a lot more movement speed. I love Striders. I think it's a great item. It's very, very cheap, and every time I talked about this yesterday, actually, when Chessie, I can't remember what hero he was playing.
Tempest.
It was Tempest, okay. And yeah, he went the entire game and just had regular boots. Like, why not just spend 300 to make your hero go across the map like 2 times as fast? Okay, maybe not 2 times, but you know, you get my point.
It's a lot faster, yeah, for many reasons. So, yeah, Mumieta obviously agrees right there. So going the Strider's route. Bottom tower is going to be pushed in. The middle tower in the meantime for the Hellborn team gets pushed, but here goes the secondary bottom tower in the background. Pebbles jumped in right there with some stalagmites, but B-Kid, he was quick to react himself, and he gets away in time. So it ends up being another 1-for-1 tower exchange, but you can argue maybe a little bit better for tdM, especially pushing a secondary tower right there. And now they're going to start falling back as a team and continue to farm some more. So an interesting game we have. I mean, again, you have Limp on one hand for Trademark Esports. Great start again, 436 gold per minute. He really is a farming machine right now. And Pebbles, obviously one of the better snowballing heroes, especially on the competitive scene. But you do have a Mage Bane, 370 gold per minute. Haxrin, he's got 2,200 gold saved up. He is actually very close now to finishing the Rune Cleaver, and it just gets better for there. So, I mean, how are you feeling this game right now, Trav? Who do you think has the advantage here so far?
I can't tell you, honestly. I mean, it's hard. You have both heroes that have that initiation, and they're probably not going to use it for quite some time. Actually, it looked like Mage Bane has put a little bit of pressure onto Zai, but I've played the matchup before of Mage Bane late game. You think, okay, Mage Bane getting free farm, this is going to be scary for the Legion team. Mage Bane's just ridiculous in the late game, but so is Hag. So Hag is really, really strong late game. Like, honestly, one of the strongest late games, I have to say, just because of her massive mobility and just the blink. And she's a caster. She does lots of damage. She has lots of utility with all her spells. She's got a slow. She's got spam. She has mass AoE nuke. She has blink. So she's very, very good in the late game. And also, people don't realize, but Pebbles is also very good in the late game. I see a Steam Staff. Okay, he's going to go. Okay, I'm stupid. I don't know. For some reason, I thought he was going to Shroud.
Shroud, obviously.
Well, normally you don't just see like a basic Steam Staff. I was like, oh my god. I can see it happening with Zai.
Happened with the Dancing Blade moment. Is that going to be a wing bow? No, it's going to be a Genjiro, idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens from time to time. No, but obviously that will eventually be a Hellflower.
Yeah,
so that makes sense.
And that'll be a Hellflower. And then also people, Pebbles is also very, very late game. And even Keeper can transition to late game as well. And Keeper is that whole Keeper to versus Tempest relationship, and it's very difficult for many Tempest players to actually get a good ult off against Keeper because he can cancel it through Shrunken Head.
It becomes a 1 versus 1 between the Tempest and the Keeper, really, as we see. Ooh, bottom tower going down. You have Engineer, Torture, and Wretched Hag here, but I guess Ophelia with her minions, Chessie able to do a little bit too much right there, just make it too difficult on tdM to deny it. So, good tower kill for Complexity right there, and more items being picked up. Helm of the Black Legion just finished on BK playing the Meraxes. You have Moomianer on Tempest, speaking of him. Portal Key just finished as well. So, you know, as that got you, of course, Rune Cleaver already picked up a Mage Bane, another 10,000, or 10,000, no, not that much yet. 1,000 gold saved up here. For him. So really both teams seem like they want to play a little bit more of the passive style right now. Actually, Keeper the Force going to get caught. There's a Tempest ultimate. It does expose Keeper the Force, but once that wears off, there's the Mana Rift coming out. And a quick kill for, not really quick, but kill nonetheless for Complexity. Very smart ultimate, of course, coming up from Tempest, if not anything to make Keeper the Force visible right there. So
yeah, and then you had Glacius right there with the Ice Imprisonment ready to go as well. So he was dead for sure, and that's a very good kill for them.
Yeah, big kill indeed. We're now 18 minutes into the game. As I was just saying, again, we've had a fair amount of action here, especially in these two teams' matchups here in the grand finals for the Diamond Division. We even referred to this. I think it was the first game that we covered. Ended up being more of a drawing contest than an actual game, but for those that actually do remember the game, we were making the point that it seems like these two teams, hold up power for a second, Noob G Torture, he's in a lot of trouble at the bottom lane. There goes that Quake Stun and the Matrix Explosion. And down goes Torturer. But yeah, these two teams, I mean, whether it's because of what is on the line, I mean, they just simply, you know, both of them really 1 and 2 teams. It seems like the passivity comes out a little bit more in the matchup that we have here with Complexity versus tdM. But right now, 4-3 hero kill. Again, it's not like it's been slow by any means, but it hasn't been the most active game. Yeah. Kind of expect that, though, I guess.
Well, I got to say, B-Kid's a pretty safe player. Like, he doesn't like taking risks. He doesn't like overextending at all. If you ever watch him on his stream, and I hope you guys do because he's probably my favorite streamer, is in games where it's serious, you know, if you're trying to take a risky kill or trying to get a kill, you kill back. Like, you jump in, kill, and then you don't even look back. You just run away. You get the kill back. He plays a very, very tight game. And that's the reason, I mean, that's part of the reason why Complexity has been so successful. But that seems to be the trend of the top teams, is playing very safe, minimize your mistakes.
Right now, we got Pebbles 426 gold per minute. Is still sitting around that mark. He has a Soul's Bulwark purchase, another 1,400 plus gold saved up. This tower in the middle lane is going to fall right here. In favor of Trademark. You know, obviously the Soul's Bulwark taking effect there, as well as Keeper the Force with the minion push. So tdM, it looks like they want to keep some momentum going right here. They're going to keep going into the middle of the base. Complexity for now pushing the top and the bottom lane, but it looks like they're porting back. And they're ready to defend it. Obviously, that makes sense. The double Skeleton King Minotaur. Shocker there. Coming out from Chessie.
Well, usually it's the
double Minotaur, you're right.
Minotaur,
yeah. But maybe that's because they're facing... no, they're not facing a Tempest, so never mind. Okay, yeah. It's not perfect in Chessie's mind, I'm sure, but it'll do. It'll do.
Well, honestly, since the Skeleton Kings got buffed, I honestly think this is better.
Yeah.
Because the Skeleton Kings actually do a little bit of damage now, when before their damage was so negligible, they were just almost awful creeps to get. But now they actually do, I want to say, like 68 damage or something like that. Where are those creeps?
They do.
50 to 50. 50 to 50. Okay, I think it was like 25 before.
Yeah, it was
terrible.
actually pretty low, yeah.
But, yeah.
So.
Also, another one of the great things about Ophelia, especially against an engineer, is with those creeps, you can take down that ultimate very, very quickly if you're already inside the ultimate. And that's a great tool against engineer. Yeah,
you know, we talk about that from time to time. Obviously, engineer, especially now with how active he is on the competitive scene, is you can't panic when you see that energy field. A lot of times you'll see like teams kind of go in and out of it, like freaking out, like where do we go, and they kind of get themselves caught in between. But really, when you think about it, if you just have everyone, okay, calm down, the energy field's up, everyone attack at once, it's dead.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's literally all it takes. But it seems like teams, whether that's just, you know, getting panic mode, or obviously there's plenty of other things going on too. So ultimately, that's not the most ideal thing, but it is possible. So it's just something to keep in mind when dealing with an energy field, of course, specifically. Obviously, something like Arachna's ultimate is another thing that can refer to. But bottom lane, we have Limp continuing to farm, as you said. I mean, Pebbles he can be a dangerous hero, obviously in the early game, but even into that late game stage. And we are seeing Limp here playing more of a, well, the potential to be more of a carry Pebbles in this game. He has another 20. I mean, he's going to have an early Demonic Breastplate if he wants that. I mean,
yeah,
he's very good farm here.
Pebbles is actually a very, very strong hero in the late game. You have the 40, you talked about it last time, the slab skin, the 40% debuff duration. That's pretty good, especially against heroes like Glacius and what have you. Or, against the Nature's Wrath that from Ophelia that, applies extra damage, 28% extra damage that lasts for 7 seconds. So having that 40% reduced is pretty huge. Now I was going to talk about Magebane's items, and he actually does buy first item Shrunken Head after the Rune Cleaver, which is great. I think in addition to that, he's also going to need Geometer's Bane for a number of reasons. To get out of that Engineer ult, obviously you can attack it, but you have to worry about yourself first and foremost. And also, if you pop that to get out of the Engineer ulti, but then the Keeper of the Forest ultimate comes down, you also want to get out of that. So having multiple ways to get out of those ultimates is why items like Shrunken Head and Geometer's Bane are going to be very, very good on Magebane this game.
Yeah, speaking of Magebane, you know what's standing out to me, actually? So Wretched Hag dropping fairly low. I guess he was just maybe farming somewhere, but finishing his Hellflower, by the way. Holy crap. But Magebane, he's level 15. That's 3 levels higher than anyone on the Legion team right now. His experience per minute is up there, man. So gold per minute's one thing, but his experience per minute is definitely up there. He's going to be level 16 very shortly here, I'm sure. In fact, oh, here we go. Initiation jumping down to Chessie, actually. Chessie will fall right there. Magebane is nearby. Obviously not much he can do by himself, though, so they're thinking about maybe trying to counter this, but in the end, they'll be fine with Chessie dying right there. And then falling back, so good catch, of course, coming out from tdM. Probably will give away, however, that they do have a Ward of Sight somewhere around here. So
yeah.
See if that's countered by Franzi in the near future, but another mid push perhaps coming out.
I'm still so impressed that, I mean, you could say maybe Suicide Hag. It wasn't exactly Suicide because it was a 1v1 matchup, but it was against a Magebane who is going to get every single CS with the superior lasted animation and all that regen on top of that. And just the fact that he had a 22-minute Hellflower with the Gravelocket boots and bottle like that, that's really, really good. I'm just continually impressed by Zai.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time, for a couple of reasons. One, because tdM, obviously, they get covered quite a bit, being the team that they are, but it's just, he deserves it. He really does. You just think most consistent players out there right now in the competitive scene, I think Zai has to be in that top 5 list easily, if not even higher. So, he just seems like every single game he will just continue to impress you. His name will be brought up several times, and just a lot of fun to watch. And again, he really is a fun character, too, to be around. Like, we've made the point before. He's a big troll, man. This guy's a big troll in real life. That's for sure.
Yep.
Definitely one of the biggest on the competitive scene. But, he just loves to have fun. He's a young guy. He just plays the game to have fun, and you got to appreciate that. So, Magebane, though, like I said, he's level 60 now. He's got that Shrunken Head Rune Cleaver, another 1,300 gold saved up. So, on his way to possibly that Geometer's Bane or whatever else he decides to go for, as you talked about. Also, as I said, Hellflower finish on Wretched Hag. Tablet of Command delivered to Torturer. 3,800 gold saved up on Limp. I want to say that is enough for a Demonic at this point, but yeah, because he already has the Soul's Bulwark. But maybe going to save up for something else, or wants to have buyback money too, I'm not sure. There's a Arcana purchased on Keeper, and actually straight up Shrunken Head purchased on Pebbles instead. So not going the straight Demonic push, but again, Shrunken Head, nothing wrong with that either, I guess. So.
Yeah, I was wondering, what he was deciding is more valuable at this point. I think Shrunken Head is kind of standard and necessary on Pebbles in most situations, but I still think that even Demonic Breastplate would have been fantastic too, because despite Magebane having a huge presence and having the top GPM in this game and still dishing out a lot of damage, especially with that mana burn.
Yeah.
He's only hitting for, I say only with a grain of salt, but for 180 damage. And if you have lots of armor, he's actually not the hardest hitter when you compare him to heroes like Dark Lady. So if you stack up armor, he's actually, other than burning your mana, not really doing that much damage to you.
True. Yeah, we'll see if, again, so like you said, the priority, obviously the Shrunken Head finished first, but now if he decides to go for a straight-up finish of a Demonic Breastplate here or something else. But, with that said, getting armor, items like, well, Barbed Armor definitely comes to mind. And of course, there's Frostfield Plate, more of an expensive route, but that can definitely be a powerful tool against a hero like Magebane. So we'll see if that eventually comes to the table. But, again, we're still only 26.5 minutes in, really entering that mid-game stage, if any. And it remains a 4-4 Hero Code game. So once again, Trademark Esports versus Complexity are the grand finals, our first cycle here for the Diamond event. And, well, we have a fairly passive game right now here in the mid-game stage. Other items that have been picked up, I mean, you got Ophelia. She's being delivered something right here. There's her Astrolabe, so has our good core items here. Astrolabe, Ring of Sorcery. Tempest, working on that Shrunken Head, of course. But once again, going up against a Keeper of the Forest, who it looks like is actually Hell, he may have a Restoration Stone shortly. My nuts, man. He's 370 gold per minute. He just finished a Sustainer, and he already has the Arcana. So he's actually getting close here to a Resto Stone.
Yeah.
Against, and again, especially against the Tempest, that's huge. So that's going to be big for tdM there.
Well, they're actually winning right now in the gold department. They're up about 1,300 gold right now. They're lacking the experience, but that's primarily all due to this Mage Bane being 3 levels higher than anyone on the Legion team. So when you think about that, it kind of cancels itself out. But
oh no, a pause.
Uh-oh, what are we going to do? 40 minutes of pause time? No! No!
We just hacked the live
Wilbur.
time. No, it's a replay in case you didn't realize yet.
So but yeah, Bound Eye up on Engineer, by the way.
Oop, need one of those, right? Nothing wrong with that. That's a good 700 gold investment right there. And Insania will get that either delivered to himself or maybe a teammate and can start taking advantage of that, of course. Speaking of Engineer, he has actually played Greaves. That's actually kind of interesting on your support Engineer. But usually, if anything, you would see that on Keeper. But I guess Keeper did go the Ghost Marchers route. So want to go play the Greaves on himself. Got the gold for it, why the hell not? And as you mentioned, has that Bound Eye now. Shrunken Heads galore, man. I mean, I'm guessing Hag and Torch are going to get their own. You have a Shrunken Head finished on Moraxis. Tempest just finishes as well. You've already got it on Mage Bin, of course. Moraxis is kind of funny. We've talked about this before. It seems like it's not a bad option by any means, but it's just he's already such a tanky hero. Obviously, the Shrunken Head allows him to be more mobile in those fights, which is a good thing, but seems like maybe going a route like a Demon or like at least a Soul's Bulwark yourself, and then something else from there even might be more efficient. But Shrunken Head again, not bad either.
I think it's the biggest reason. I mean, yeah, you're playing against 2 heroes that are just so annoying. Even if they're not doing that much damage to you, they're snaring you like so badly. The Keeper of the Forest, and now that he has also a Resto Stone that's insane at this rate. But the Keeper of the Forest having the his ultimate, and then the Engineer ultimate. And like I said, not that it really does that much damage to you, but the fact that it keeps you in place and prevents you from having an effect on the team fight. So they don't want to be snared. They don't want to be stunned like that. So they need to be able to be mobile, and especially on a hero with Moraxis when you have to chase people down with your axes, that it can be effective. It is kind of odd to see it on a hero that's so tanky like that, but I think that's the reason as to why he's picking it up.
Now, the big thing to keep in mind, so that Resto Stone, as early as it is on Keeper, he doesn't have a portal key. So, he won't be able to necessarily, have that jump in gotcha potential. Granted, again, Keeper of the Forest, we always go back to. I mean, it's ultimate, let's be honest, it's not the hardest ultimate in the game to land. You just make sure that everyone's on your screen, then you press R. But, having the portal key makes it a lot even easier. But not having the portal key, not the biggest stone in the world. I am curious to see if he does still value that and if he goes for a next tier, or if he just instead goes for something else. But
I wonder if he showed his Resto Stone, because like I said, it would have been.
I don't know if he did actually.
It would have been awesome if he could just put it in the Courier. They go to a team fight. He uses an ultimate, puts the Resto Stone back onto him in the Courier. They think they have a free ultimate from Tempest, but no.
you want that strap, man?
Dude, it's
one of
so
these days.
sound. I'm telling you, like I'm not even trolling. I think it's perfect.
This is a game. See, it's funny because usually I do laugh at them. I'm just like, okay, yeah, enough of that, Trev. But this game, it actually, especially with how early it got. I mean, it could have worked. It really could have. But I don't know. I know that he was kind of there in the team fight, but I think he had his invis on for most of it. So I don't know if he was actually spotted, but yeah, it is on him anyways. So it's not going to happen. Mage Bane, 2,800 more gold saved up. Again, he's sitting on that Blessed Orb. Probably a Geometer's Bane here is what you'd expect.
And he'll have it right about now, so he'll have that to work with, but if he wants to. At this point, you really shouldn't be saving for buyout.
Yeah.
You want to maximize your farm, too, with those items, and maybe get pickoffs with your good items and extra damage and movement speed and all that jazz. So, but, yep, he'll have that to work with. They are warding around Kongor just a little bit. Franzi really, really likes this ward, by the way.
Man.
That whole time we were watching them play Team Vote, Staying Green. They had this ward every single time. They never got it countered. Stay Green never spotted it. Hopefully, for their sake, they're doing some replay watching and know that this is a very common ward for Franzi, at least.
Well, again, especially when it was that Sunday, where that was the match before these grand finals were supposed to take place, and of course, it did play out, and obviously in the end, Complexity won that series 2-1. But I'm sure tdM was at least tuning in to HoNcasts, at least checking their opponents out and seeing what they're doing. So something tells me, they are aware of how Franzi likes that position there, but we'll see if that eventually is taken care of. Again, if they're not even wanting to do Kongor, they're not the biggest deal in the world, but we'll see down the line, depending on how much game we even have left here. But Man, oh man. Talk about, once again, more of just a passive game here between these two teams. There's a Geometer's Bane finished on Mage Bane, so as you said, it's, you're really not necessary to save it for buyback at this point of the game. You want to just maximize your farm and whatnot. So he will have that finished. Oh, he does still have another 800 gold, though, and he's just going to go into the jungle here and continue to farm. So, again, normally it seems like in a game like this where you look at the matchup, you'd be like, Mage Bane, you're letting him free farm. You're not going around getting ganks as a team with Pebbles, Hag, Torturer. That seems like that'd be silly, but I don't know. It seems like tdM, though, in my perspective, actually isn't in the worst spot here. But Mage Bane is getting pretty farmed, man. So
he's getting pretty farmed, but it's like, yeah, he's the top farm in the game, but I feel like you kill him, then you win the fight. Like, if you focus him down with a Hellflower, which they do have on Hag, and you just focus and make sure to kill him, then the rest of the team really has not much that to offer. So that's why you have to get defensive items like Mage Bane has. That's great for Haxerin. I really approve of those items with Geometer's Bane and Shrunken Head. But if he is caught, if he does, and it's not difficult to catch someone like that. You think, oh, he got caught, he threw the game, but if you have that set in your mind, like you're going to get him, then you're going to get him. Unless he's playing so passive to the point where he's just not doing absolutely anything in the team fight, and you don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
So, but we do have a considerable golden experience lead as we have this passive game coming out, and it's simply because more heroes are getting more farm on all across the board for tdM than Complexity.
I like the idea right here, Keep of the Forest. He invis 2 of his tree dogs, and of course the benefit of that is that they stay invis if they walk next to each other, and he's kind of scouting out with them. But the bound die from Tempest, or not Tempest, but Moraxis, spotted them and got them killed. But a little bit of Congo attempt, but nothing too serious there. Gets about half life, and in the end, though, Complexity falling back, especially Mage Bane is now all the way up here to the top lane, and especially if tdM realizes that, it's going to be interesting to see what they try to make a move here for. Whether they go for a push now or they maybe try to catch Complexity off guard. It looks like it is going to be going for the push strat. Oh, no, but they fall back here and maybe going to tempt themselves with Congo a little bit. Again, there is this ward aside here by Franzi, as well as over here is actually going to be counter-warded. Again, they have that bound die on Insania, so not going to actually go for Congo. Mage Bane already ported back, and they are ready. Complexity, that is, to make a fight happen if Trademark Esports wants to as well. But now Trademark Esports kind of the ones with the positioning here to kind of start doing a little bit of Congo. Again, I'm very curious if they do counter this ward. It seems like, okay, he's going to spawn some trees uphill up here, but if they have the bound die, then would that be able to see the ward of sight with the trees up here? I think it should, right?
I don't think
there's
so.
the courier. They're going to scout that, and no, not going to counter ward it, though.
They should have seen it.
Yeah, they definitely should have seen it there, but...
Yeah, but that ward seems to be owning.
It does, man.
And maybe they have done their homework and they're just trying to get it, but they just simply can't see it. There is a push coming out in the top lane that's going to do a little bit of damage to that tower, and that's one thing to think about if you're tdM. They actually have some people running over there right now. Shrunken Head, as you mentioned, I don't know if you mentioned, but is up onto Torturer, and that's going to be really, really good for him. He's going for more of that tanky route. He's not going to have that initiation or strong, CC abilities with, a Hex or something like that, but is quite tanky. And actually, Keeper is opting out of that blink still. He's not going for the portal key. It looks like he's going for the Shaman Tedris into Barrier Idol. So just wants to be a tanky guy that can cast 2 ultimates.
Yeah, nothing super wrong with that. Again, Keeper of the Forest doesn't necessarily absolutely need that portal key, but speaking of Keeper of the Forest, sitting at his dogs right here, and they will spot Congo being attempted, but they're committing to this Congo somewhat. Nope, never mind. Mage Bane blinks away, and that'll be that. So the tree dog's just a little bit too much, and with the rest of the team running over, Complexity figuring it's not worth committing, at least just yet. So they keep on toying with Congo a little bit right here, and they have gone a little bit lower. So that's maybe what they're going to go for, to eventually get it low enough to the point where they can kind of go in and get that ninja attempt. But Trademark Esports, very smart team, of course. They're not going to let it be too easy for Complexity. So Complexity once again going to fall back right here. Mage Bane going to look to pick up some more farm. Is another 2,600 gold saved up. So at this point, you could start arguing maybe start saving it for buyback here, or make sure you at least have it before you get your next big item. So we'll see how the case of that goes. But then you have Wretched Hag and Pebbles, who themselves have a good chunk of change saved up, including Wretched Hag, man. Zai, he finds farms all over the place somehow. He has another 3,000 gold saved up. He is farming 425 gold per minute. He's not on par with Mage Bane, but he's honestly been keeping up with Mage Bane. Not too bad. So he just knows how to farm, man. 3,000 gold saved up. We'll see what item is in store for him next.
Yeah, Limps is tapered off just a little bit, but still pretty damn close to that Demonic Breastplate, which, like I said, with Magebane not really building damage items, and in a situation like this where you're up against Keeper, double Engineer, and all that stuff, you can't really build damage items at this point. Maybe not even in this entire game, and I think that's one of the drawbacks of having Magebane in this instance.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that Wretched Hag in the late game is going to thrive.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see if it does eventually come to that point. If that happens, of course, that'd be the good thing for Trademark Esports, having a Wretched Hag kind of take over as that carry. But both teams kind of having a stare down right here. Either side, they kind of know the other one's there somewhat, but no one's just going in just yet. Going to continue to play that passive route. And once again, Trademark Esports looks like they are going to fall back for now and be good with just farming. So we are still sitting on the 8 hero kills total. Now coming up to 38 minutes into this game here. Again, the passive play, both of these teams not worried to play that style. Obviously, in the end, there is what's on the line here, and this is the grand finals in this matchup. Can't blame them, but Spectator does kind of suck. But hey, hopefully it's made up for. Once we do get that big epic fight, and maybe even a couple of them. But Post Haste just purchased by Zai right here, playing this Wretched Hag. So that's what he invests at least a good chunk of his change into. Going the Post Haste route, and of course a very strong item in terms of being able to have that mobility and go around the map at will for the most part, and being able to both counter push or port back to base if necessary, things like that. So very, very effective item to pick up, especially when you get to that luxury stage. And speaking of luxury, again, 3,500 gold saved up on Pebbles, so now 3,700 gold.
Yep.
Just more and more, so we'll see if that Demonic Breastplate coming up here. And then, of course, there's going to be a Barrier Idol finished here in the near future for the Keeper.
Very, very passive game. Only 8 kills in almost 40 minutes. And there's a couple things to say about that. One is, this is at a very high level. Teams aren't making really any mistakes. They just simply want to farm and find the best opening to where they can get the best exchange. But I honestly feel like certain teams are just honestly a little bit too scared. I think they're too scared that they're not confident enough in their abilities to make a move. I think that honestly has a lot to do with why we see some passive play here at the top level. And I'm not trying to knock both these teams, but it really has come down to that, I feel.
I agree. I definitely agree right there. In fact, here we go, though. Looks like initiation might be happening in the jump. But the Magebane with a cut of that quick shot. There's our Tempest ultimate catching Keeper the Force, actually. And Keeper the Force will fall right there before he can even root Bad Blast in the background. But it looks like Complexity may come out on top of this fight. Engineer falls. He got the energy field off. It didn't matter, though. Pebbles down to a lot of trouble. Keeper the Force is not buying back. He is still dead. Magebane chasing after this Hag, but Wretched Hag will be fine as she blinks away. So 2 players do die for Complexity in Ophelia and Glacius, but that Tempest ultimate catching Keeper of the Forest, that is exactly what you not want to happen if you're Trademark Esports, and we could very likely now see a Conger kill as a result of that.
That was just horrible, horrible positioning from MyNuts. This is why people buy Portal Key on Keeper, so you don't have to walk in situations like that. And even then, this is why, exactly that. I have nothing else more to say. You need it. I feel like you still need a Portal Key on Keeper to keep your positioning perfect, especially against the Tempest, who also has his own Portal Key. So, I mean, I understand the route of getting tanky, but if you wanted to go the tanky route, why even buy the Resto Stone? Why not just get the barrier first, and then look towards the Resto Stone after that, if you're not going to be able to have the best positioning for an ultimate? So, he desperately needs that Portal Key after watching what happened right there.
This is a fun damage start, and I think it kind of shows you where this game or how it's kind of been going. In the sense that this has been a very passive game, it goes to show you, Magebane is 24% of the overall damage done. We've only had one really big team fight, and that was what just happened right there. And I think most of that damage is actually coming from the Mana Rift he put out. I don't know the exact number that I put out, but I'm sure it did a good amount of damage, and it seemed to hit at least 3 heroes, if not more. So, but it is kind of funny seeing that. And there we go. He right-clicks a Wing Bow. Why the hell not? As is next kind of that luxury item here. So Magebane, he is very deadly now. He did just buy it. Now, he doesn't have a buyback, but he does have a token of life. But look what tdM's doing. They're grouping up and making a push themselves, so they're showing that they're not too worried. Obviously, Tempest Ultimate being down, that's probably the big key. They still have 2 roots to use. So this is actually a pretty smart choice here from Trademark when you look at it from that perspective. They're going to try to capitalize big time. Now they get the tower kill. Will they be able to get the melee racks? When will Complexity look to jump in themselves? Obviously, Mirax is back. There we go. Beacon jumps in. Locking down. Keeper the Force once again. Keeper the Force. Can he get the root off? It looks like he might be able to. There's the first one to get healed up. But he falls on Mana Rift for 610 damage coming out. And there's the kill just like that. 1-for-0 exchange. Pebbles jump to the background. Trying to chase down this more access. Not going to be enough though. Magebane flicking away. Energy field is down. And right now, it's still that 1-for-0 exchange. So well played by Complexity. They catch Zai off to the side, but Zai blinks away before the damage is done. Now the melee racks is falling, so this could be still good news for Trademark. And actually, Torture may take out the melee racks. No, there's the invulnerability. Pebbles being chased down. The Bat Blast in the background. Magebane needs to be careful. He does have the token of life, but still doesn't want to waste it. The melee racks, the Impalement going to be activated by New G. He will get the melee racks. So that's the good news there for tdM. And actually, Glacius will fall as well. Torture doing too much damage, but Magebane tears up Engineer right there. But it looks like Pebbles and Torture have fallen back. But Pebbles jumping back in, going man mode here. He wants to get that kill, but it won't happen. Magebane gets the kill at the last second. Wakes up from Meraxis, but that quick blink from Zai, and he survives. So, I don't know. I mean, they got the melee rack, so that's good for tdM, but it seems like Complexity fought strong in there in the end.
They did, and it's simply they didn't have the Tempest ult to work with, and that I think is the biggest thing. Minus, he only got one of his ultimates off. Again, I feel like if he just had a blink, he could get 2 of these ultimates off and be so effective. But I can't believe they actually really honestly came out in that fight. Like, yeah, Magebane is ridiculous at this point, has that wing bow. The 6-0-1 top farm in the game, all that jazz, but you lost to Rax in that fight still. And Torture didn't die. And so that's really good for him. Torture is also a hero that can transition to the late game as well. So, and then the Zai being alive. Wow, Zai taking a lot of damage from those creeps bottom. That's kind of crazy. Action in mid, actually. Keeper of the Forest being caught out yet again. If he dies, that's going to be huge for Complexity. He does fall, so Minot's getting picked off again.
He's down for a minute. This is huge for Complexity. They do not have to worry not only about 1 root, but 2 roots, as the Restoration Stone was not used by Keeper. So they're going to get this middle tower, and they're very likely going to push in. I mean, why the hell not? They still have 3.5 minutes on that token of life. They have all 5 players up. The Tempest ultimate is off cooldown. This is prime time here for Complexity to really make something happen. So Keeper especially getting picked up right there. That is a big no-no for Trademark Esports. We'll see what they're able to do to hold this off. Again, without Keeper, though, it's going to be very, very difficult. Can they actually pull it off? Chain Reaction is somewhat hitting right there. The top tower does go down in favor of the Legion side, but their middle base tower is going to fall right here. Now the big question, will Complexity get the racks? That Tablet's ultimate in the back. Again, I struck it in. Now, nice Tablet out on a limp right there, so he's going to be fine for now, but Wretched Hag will be locked down, and Wretched Hag will fall. Wretched Hag buying back immediately, but Limp's in a lot of trouble. Struck goes off himself. He will get the counter kill, actually. He stays alive. Magebane going to resurrect right there, but now Magebane in some trouble. Keeper of the Force coming up in 10 seconds. He's locking out Torture. One more out of attack will get the kill, and Torture will fall. Keeper of the Force is going to resurrect right here, but a big dive for Complexity. Look at Haxerin all the way in the background. Now Keeper of the Force is back up. He actually chasing down right now. They want to finish off this Meraxis. Matrix is activated though, taking the damage, but it's not enough. He will fall. Quad kill coming up for Zai when it's all said and done. So Trademark Esports fight strong there. Complexity, overextension much? What happened?
I think Moon used his ultimate too early. Honestly, he had a good idea in trying to get it off while Keeper was dead, but the push book just owned him. Like, it saved Pebbles. Yeah, Wretched Hag died, but obviously, if he hasn't, you have to look at their inventory too when you're pushing and making decisions like that. And he didn't have any really big items after, he's had these same items for quite some time. Yes, he has a Blessed Orb, but yeah, you had to expect the buyout. So when you're using big spells like that to get, just get 1 kill, you have to expect that the turn is going to happen, and it's going to happen in a brutal fashion. And so Zai picks up a quad kill as a result of that.
And not only that, but they're going to counter push now, and this could work out very effectively. Trademark East or Tempest, again, obviously the ultimate is on cooldown. He's going to be resurrecting right here, but he won't be able to bring too much to the table other than the Comet and maybe the stun. Magebane will blink in though. Magebane with the Shuriken. There's the root though coming out for Keeper of the Force. The first one out laced. Here's the Nature's Wrath used on a Pebbles. A Mana Rift on a Wretched Hag. Not enough for the kill though. And it looks like Trademark Esports just going to fall back in the end. So they're not able to get the melee racks this time, but still a very effective counter push, at least it looks like, coming out for Trademark Esports. The quad kill for Zai on top of that. And you said it, man. I mean, as dangerous as Magebane can be, Zai here playing this Wretched Hag, she will also start to get very deadly. With another 3,300 gold saved up, it's looking like we can start heading towards that direction. So action, at least action picked up, Trove.
Well, the scary thing, too, is every single time Magebane jumps in like that and uses his Shrunken Head, that's another charge. And charges for him desperately matter, especially when you're up against the team that you're up against, being, Engineering and the Hellflower from Hag. And you're probably going to have a Sheep Stick on top of that. Well, you do have a Hellflower actually up onto Meraxis, so I wouldn't be surprised if he does go for Nullstone. Both would be fine, honestly. But, yeah, Magebane, he's highest farm by far, but honestly isn't really accomplishing what he needs to in teamfights, which is take someone down immediately. And I was going to say it, and I hate to say it, but I honestly feel like Wingbow is kind of a dead item. I really do. Like, You think it's great. It does a lot. It seems like it does a lot. You get all this evasion, that's cool attack speed, and a big item, and it has a really cool picture to it. Like, it looks awesome. And that's the ultimate reason
green's
why.
my favorite color.
Exactly. But when you really think about what can be more effective, I think something like a snare, like you know, Frostwolf Skull.
Like a brutalizer even.
Well, that combination together is one of my favorites. Actually, if you talk to Slicks, he'll say that he likes that as well. Is you get massive slow, you're also very tanky, and against a hero like Hag, if you have the potential, if you jump in and get a stun on Hag with your brutalizer, and then you follow up with a stun from Meraxes, he's dead. And there's no countering a brutalizer stun. Like, you cannot counter that unless, of course, you get a Void Talisman, but that's the only thing that you can do against that.
Well, and then there's the idea, especially with where Hag's going, and we're bringing this back up, but it doesn't look like it just yet by any means, but the possibility of a Savage Mace is also very possible here.
Of course.
For Wretched Hag, as we've seen before on farmed Hag. So, that's another thing to keep in mind, going that Wingbow route. It still is a solid item, sure, but the Savage Mace can definitely affect it.
It does work great with images. I've always said that.
True.
Items that give lots of stats are great for images because they benefit from stats, not from things like attacks, like static attack speed. Like, if you get a Warp Clef, your images won't benefit from that. But what else would benefit from, or what else would help your images out is like a Frostful Skull. Like, you get tons of stats from that as well. So I just think that would be a better pickup in general. It would slow heroes, especially with that shrunken head, up onto both Hag and, well, actually 3 heroes, Hag, Pebbles, and Torture. Now, this is a small thing, but I really do think in the bigger picture, I just think that Wingbow isn't really accomplishing that much. But, you know.
No, you bring up some great points. I mean, you definitely have some great reasoning behind that. So it is something that to debate about and argue about even. But in the end, it's what he's got. Now he has another 7,300 gold saved up, so obviously he can literally open up the store and right-click any single item, and he'll have a purchase. Now he does still have both of his buybacks, so of course you want to keep that in mind as well. So okay, so he's got the Wingbow now. Do you still think going now for that Frostwolf Skull and then maybe even the Brutalizer still makes sense?
I think absolutely Frostwolf Skull. I think you absolutely have to pick that up here. I think it comes to well, what do you know? You see the Savage Mace purchased fully by Wretched Hag, so that's pretty crazy. I think in situations like this, you need to be tanky because if I'm the Legion team, I'm thinking I kill Magebane, I win. Like, that's what I'm thinking. So he has pulled up a lot of gold, but yeah, I think Frostwolf Skull is definitely necessary here for Haxorn.
And then a portal key on Keeper. So Minot finally has that.
See, he buys it before even finishing the barrier. It makes no sense.
That is silly, that it kind of turned out that way. But Restoration Stone on Tempest. So now he has his double ultimate as well. Storm Spirit on Ophelia. Of course, we talk about that all the time, how that's a very powerful combination to have. Excuse me, that you can port back, especially having that Magebane who was very susceptible to being jumped, with all these health bars and whatnot, being able to Storm Spirit him. And even send it back if need be. Okay, he does get a Frostwolf Skull, so there's the good news, at least for us, Drelf. Then a 3,000 gold saved up already, so
still has his buyout.
Obviously, he still has his buyout. And you look at his life pool. Yeah, he's nearly 3,000 life now, 2934. So he's got plenty of life to work with as well. On top of having a slow, on top of just having even some more damage output, looking pretty good right there. So, 15 minutes in right now, 5,600 gold saved up on Limp. You talk about passive game. Now, again, we had a good 4 or 5 minute stretch there where action was definitely a lot of happening. And that was fun, but maybe even as you expect. Now here we go, back to more passivity, more sit back and farm. Wretched Hag Savage Maze is going to work on our next item. I'm very interested to see where this Pebbles goes, man. I mean, because he is saving up a lot of gold himself.
He could go a lot of different things. He could go a Sheep Stick. Like another, obviously Magebane has no Null Stone, so that'd be a good item to have against Magebane, or even a Health Hour of his own to have that extra damage. You could even go off the wall and go something like Geometer's Bane to just make it a little bit crazier, a little bit more difficult for the team to kill you, and also give you just overall good stats. I've actually always liked Geometer's Bane on Pebbles. I think it's actually quite good. We never see it, but I think it's an item to not be overlooked. Now for Magebane, I was going to mention one thing, and I totally forgot. But as it approaches to the late game, you have to maybe think about starting to maybe, what do you want to sell at this point? Because the thing about Rune Cleaver, it's like, okay, you think about that first,
farming tool,
it's a farming tool, but it's also when you're down racks, it's a I need to save my base tool. It's not so much of a damage or farming tool as I need to make sure that these creeps don't kill my base before we actually fight in our base tool. So it's almost a necessary item from start to finish for Magebane. I would honestly think about selling that Wingbow when it comes to late stage, and maybe think about getting something else.
Well, especially now with the Savage Mace on hack. I mean, I actually think that is a very good potential argument to make, that just selling the wing bow, you would get 2,800 gold back with the half price. So, I mean, that's plenty of gold. Oh, that's a lot of money, actually. Obviously, yeah, you sell the item and don't have the benefits from it anymore, but investing into something else, like that Brutalizer we talked about, or even a Savage Mace yourself, something else.
Now, that being said, at least I think burn through one of your buyouts before you think about replacing another item. Like, you want to get the full effectiveness out of your items right now before you do sell them for half price. So he hasn't burned through a buyout yet, so right now sitting on the items that he is fine. And he just rebought his Shrunken Head, so and he has a buyout on top of that.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
Okay.
so now he's at the full 10-second duration.
Yeah. What is Pebbles going for? 6,000 gold saved up, so he is, Limp is just saving up Macho here. Sheepstick finished on Torturer. These games just absolutely get ridiculous now, you know, where we get to this stage where, again, both teams, obviously two very quality teams. You're really the number 1 and 2 teams in the world right now, you can argue. Oh, actually, never mind, those were illusions, so Pebbles going to even kite Magebane with his illusions, but they will fall in the end. Now, kind of an interesting thing, again, kind of one of these things you maybe not think about too much when dealing against certain heroes like the Magebane in this case, but the Master of the Mantra's fun ability, especially against a hero like Torture, Wretched Hag, you know, if you're using those burst mana abilities, it does hurt yourself quite a bit, so you want to keep that in mind, but again, I'm just kind of thinking about just off-topic things to talk about, but anyways, it looks like Trademark Esports, they are going to try to make a little bit of a push, right? Double Vulture Lord by Chessie, by the way. And he's going to use one of the tornadoes here to kind of keep the wave push back. So very interesting, but obviously it kind of makes sense. If you want to have some creep clearing potential, it can help with that. So
Magebane was being very timid in defending that. I don't think he has anything to be scared of, honestly. Like, you have a buyout, you have massive HP, you have a Storm Spirit, heals, and so he needs to be the one up there in the front lines clearing stuff out, not Meraxis. That could have been really scary if you lose your initiator like Meraxis.
Yeah.
At this point, too, you got to expect your Magebane is going to have a buyout. So if you're tdM, you don't do anything crazy. You do not jump them. You do not do anything crazy, in my opinion. You just sit back, let the mid push, and let maybe Complexity make a move.
Yeah.
Or if you're dwindling down the
There
Rax.
we go. Meraxis jumps in. Wretched Hag being bursted down, and Wretched Hag will fall. The Mana Rift on top of that. It's a great pick right off the bat. Now Wretched Hag does buy back. Remember, she has post haste actually, so she can come back into this fight. Trigger, it's going to be the Tempest Ultimate. The first one, this is going to be canceled by the Rune. He does have a second Tempest Ultimate. Wretched Hag has pullback. There's the second Tempest Ultimate, but there's the second Rune coming out. Magebane being locked down. Bat on top, and Magebane will fall. Tempest trying to pour it out of there. That was silly. Absolutely not going to happen. He falls as well. Magebane buys back immediately. Glacius going to be picked off. Magebane is ready to fight, but it's just Magebane and Meraxis right now. Nobody else can buy back, so the buyback from Zai huge. Meraxis says, balls to the wall, baby, I'm going in. They want to kill Hag, but the great keg stump from Insania right there as soon as Magebane blinked in. That stopped a lot, and this could set up a turnaround. Hellfire's been applied. Magebane, can he blink away? Yes, he can. He will be fine, and now actually Sheepstick onto Meraxis. They did get the kill on Zai right there, but Meraxis needs to be able to tank this damage. He has a stomp, not going to use it right there. And he'll fall back. Now look at the middle of the base in the meantime. The defensive towers at the shrine, they are starting to be destroyed. So obviously Complexity will have to start worrying more and more about that. But in the end, I think that actually went okay for Complexity.
I don't know how the hell you're getting ahead of me, and this is so crazy. But yeah, anyway, there's a couple things to note about that. Great obviously, transition or relationship, again, I always talk about this, between Tempest and Keeper. They both did exactly what they needed to.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that Complexity failed miserably in focusing down Torturer. They failed miserably. Had they killed that Torturer, who had 100 HP for like 30 seconds of the fight, actually got the counter kill onto, who was it, Haxorin. If you see that Nuji actually ended his streak, that should never have happened. I mean, Nuji was so close to dying, they just did not focus their fire properly. And he was able to live through that entire series. And then there's another thing I was going to mention. Oh, the fact that, okay, now they're actually doing Congo for Complexity, that's good for them, but imagine if Pebbles had the Savage Mace they just picked up before that entire team fight.
Yeah.
When you're pushing into the base, especially when you already have a Rax down, there is no reason whatsoever to pull up that much gold. Absolutely none. If you're defending, sure, you die in your base, you want to be able to buy out, come right back in the middle of that team fight. But when you're pushing that far up, there's literally no excuse.
Now, Complexity doing a smart thing right there. They knew that tdM was kind of worrying about their base somewhat a little bit themselves, obviously with some creep pushes and whatnot, and they actually fell back at their items, and they actually ninja Conquer very quickly. So well played by Complexity there, and they get a great Conquer kill. Meraxis actually the one to pick up the Token of Life. Now, you can kind of question a little bit, why not Magebane? Well, you know, Magebane, you look at his items, I mean, what is he going to sell for that Token of Life, if anything? So I think that obviously makes sense why it's on Meraxis in the end. But you said, I mean, the Savage Mace here on a Pebble, sure, he maybe could have used it in the last fight, but oh my god, he just picked up a double damage rune Talk about one of the hardest hitters in the game. This is no doubt it right here. 673 maximum damage. He's going to jump in right here. The Stalagmite's coming out. Here come the auto attacks. That's Moraxis. And Moraxis will fall to the ground. The token of life going to be used right there. He's going to be sheeped immediately. The energy field is down.
Oh my
and
God.
Moraxis will just melt away. Olympus doing so much damage here. Bat Blast in the background. Hitting Tempest. Striking Head's going off all over the place. Mage Bane locking up. Oh, the Mana Red for 1100 damage right there. He's turning on to Pebbles. But Pebbles some good damage himself. Mage Bane will be forced to blink away in the end. The illusions in the background. Going to catch Stalagmites onto a Philly right there. But now Pebbles, he's going to counter Moraxis buying back. Gets that kill on Pebbles right there. Limp dies. Noob G now being chased down. There's a great storm speed on a Mage Bane right there. As actually Torture's still on the run, but the Matrix Explosion will get the kill. And now Trademark Esports will have to fall back. Only 2 players up. Keep it the Force and Engineer. Make that one person. Engineer, he will very likely fall right here. In fact, there we go. Boundite drops, and B-Kid finishes with a double tap. So Complexity winning that fight right there. They only used a buyback on B-Kid, and now they are going to push back themselves.
Yeah, these matrices are doing so much damage. I was going to mention that last fight too, but it's popping for like 700, 600 damage. Or Matrax, or however you call it. But yeah, it's doing a lot of damage. And they also still have the Tempest Hole and the double and the Restoration Stone on top of that with the Shrunken Head activated. So yeah, this could be really good for Complexity. They know, or at least they should know, that Zai has no buyouts this time. Yeah,
he is out of buybacks. I mean, look at the buyback situation overall. Moraxis and Mage Bane using a buyback themselves for Complexity, but tdM, Zai completely out, as you put it. You got Limp, Noob, G, and Minuts all down to 1 buyback, and of course Insanity having 2, but again, the Bitchward support not really the biggest worry in the world. So yeah, it seems like Complexity, it's hard to say. I mean, it seems like they should be in the better spot right now, but they're the ones with their melee racks, or their middle racks, both of them being down. The defensive towers at the Shrine have already taken damage. So, and you do have a farm Mage Bane, but again, Pebbles and Hack have shown the damage output that they can put out themselves. So,
well, and at this point, any farm that Mage Bane gets, you keep seeing his numbers just dramatically rise in GPM, but that's negligible. It doesn't matter. He already has his max items, so any more farm he gets, he's just taking away from the rest of the team.
It's the 1 buyback.
If any, he has the 1 buyback, and then maybe replace the Shrunken Head after that, and maybe think about replacing his Wing Bow because of the double Savage Mace. But he really should maybe be leaving farm for the rest of his team. But I was going to mention, they desperately need an Abyssal Skull in this team, especially from Mage Bane.
He sold the Rune Cleaver? He sold the Cleaver, buys the Savage Mace.
I don't like that. I don't know. I don't really like that.
Now, single target, he will be wrecking face. I mean, the Savage Mace no doubt brings that to the table. So it is a double-edged sword there when you think about it. I mean, yes, he doesn't have the creep clearing potential as much anymore, and really this team doesn't have a whole lot of that. So that could get deadly for them, but he will be wrecking. In fact, here we go. Moraxis jumps in. Pebbles dropping pretty quickly right here as both the Shrunken Head's going to be his nice tablet away, though. Tempest jumping in, but Pebbles holding his ground, actually, and Moraxis will be forced to fall back. Sheepston coming out the storm speed in the background. There's our first root coming over. Keeper, a very aggressive root right there. Tempest did not ulti. Mana Rift going to be used, but Pebbles still alive. There's the first Tempest, but the root coming out immediately after. Tempest does have another ultimate, but Wretched Act just absolutely destroys Tempest in the background. Mage Bane just blanking away. Right now, Tempest, the only one dead currently. Moomiander actually buys back. He's ready to go. Chessie is 1 dead right now on the Hellbourne team. Man, Zai gets picked off. The Tempest ultimate really didn't do anything right there, but they got the kill on his eyes, so that's the good thing. Mage Bane blinking in. He's at a fairly low life, though, so yeah, that was a pretty aggressive blink. And it seems like Trademark Esports will be fine in the end again, but look at the middle. The towers are dead. The Shrine is now exposed, so Trademark Esports, I think they came out on top there. And in fact, the Shrine's going to drop to about half life right now. Oh, man, it seems like Complexity, just like us even, they completely forgot about this. I mean, their Shrine, a lot of damage is going to be taken. They'll finally clear it up. That's a big deal, though.
Well, if you think about how long the last fight happened in the same position, it was up in the top lane while mid was getting totally neglected. And as a result, look at that, half HP Sacrificial Shrine. That's very unfortunate that Moonwalk jumped in there. I didn't see it, but you saw he bought back and then applied already replied his Restoration Stone, used his ultimate on what was nothing, right?
Yeah.
Like it looked like
Zai immediately died right as he went into ulti. I think he was trying to make sure to get the kill, but they got the kill anyway. So
okay, well that's kind of unfortunate for them.
Yeah,
he's not gonna have to work with at least roll for another 120 seconds. But yeah, like I said, when it comes to the late game, I think the tdM has it. I really do. You have more heroes that are gonna be more effective. That energy field is also doing lots of work here. I've seen it just silence heroes multiple times. And I'm pretty sure about this. Once you get, you can use your Shrunken Head and walk to and fro. You can walk through it and everything. But once you get silenced from it, you can't pop your Shrunken Head to deactivate it. Similar to a Hellflower. So it's a huge nuisance.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely can be annoying. Now, Icebrand picked up on Wretched Hag. Again, Zai's completely out of buyback, so he's just going all out here. He's actually trying to finish that Frost of Skull, and he'll still have another item slot, actually, once he finishes the Frost of Skull. So he still has a good amount of item. Well, that, of course, another item to pick up, and that's some cool news. As does Pebbles, for that matter. I mean, he's sitting on a power supply. Obviously, at this point, that's kind of silly to even have that. It really just doesn't make any sense. Might as well upgrade that into a much more effective item. He does have at least one buyback, though. Or he has the one buyback, though, so keeping that in mind. Trademark Esports, though, you got to give them the credit. They're the ones keeping the aggression up. I mean, I guess they kind of have to, especially when you do look at the lineup somewhat, and if you do if you get allow Complexity to kind of regroup and farm more items, not only obviously Magebane's maxed out, but on the supporting cast, then that's where they could be really dangerous. So that's a credit to tdM, but it's the Shrine is starting to regen here. It's about what 2,400 life and a 4,250. Well, Trademark Esports is going to again push, it looks like.
The thing is okay, Haxtron's like he's maxed, and he bought a Savage Mace, which I still think is just not a smart pickup. I would have got something more tanky. I would have got Demonic Breastplate. Like I feel like that would have been way better for his team in this instance, or even just a Behemoth Sword. I think that just making yourself more tanky would have been the best route. So you can just you can jump in there, be right in their face, and not have to worry about any kind of counters onto you. But yeah, no, as it comes to late, like, what more items is Meraxes going to buy that's going to make him much more effective? Like, I can't see anything. Maybe a Demonic Breastplate for himself, that's about it. But other than that, like, you can just keep out farming them. I mean, tdM's, that's putting on the aggression. That's great for them, and it's working, obviously. Like, you have all these buildings down, the Shrine exposed. But they're still always going to be in a better spot because more of their team is going to benefit from high-tier items. Every single one of those heroes, actually.
Look at the middle. I mean, the creep wave Complexity, they pushed out a little bit initially, but it's already being pushed back very aggressively, as you would expect. And Complexity will have to start worrying about that. Again, Trademark, they're playing this very smart. If anything, they're going to wait for that push to at least enter the base. You see Tundra Blast coming out right there from Glacius, but that's just going to slow them down a little bit. But they are going to start breaking into the base now, and this is the timing for Trademark Esports. It's really going to force Complexity. I mean, even if Complexity starts fighting back here at the top lane, the creep wave in the middle will continue to push. Now, the bottom lane, it does have something going here for Complexity at the same time, but they do not have any racks killed, so it's not that big of an advantage here compared to Trademark Esports. But tdM Frostfield play on Keeper the Force now, by the way, so just another big item for them. Man, this game is definitely coming down to the epic finish, so I know it eventually got postponed and obviously had a little bit of delay today, but we got something going here, man. We definitely do. Wretched actually ports back to the bottom lane, figuring they instead want to defend a little bit themselves, and they're going to buy some more farming time. So kind of what you're talking about. No, it's not necessary to really push into the base just yet, and instead Trademark Esports will continue to farm a little bit more from now on, at least.
Yeah, and she has her own Frostfield or Frostwolf Skull. That's going to be great for her. I think even does she have a full shrunken head right now? No, it's only actually 5. So maybe thinking about replacing that shrunken head to get a full duration on that before actually pushing into the base. And yeah, I mean they have so many. Yep. Well, speaking of, she just bought a new shrunken head on Wretched Hag. So reading my mind apparently, but they just have a lot more room to work with, like a lot more breathing room for tdM. They have the completely exposed middle racks and everything. And then the top racks are exposed as well. Well, I shouldn't say the racks are exposed in mid, but they're dead, and the Shrine is exposed. Kong, that might be the determining factor, making like something, jump start in the rest of this game, being 65 minutes. But maybe if I've seen, like I said, more games determined quickly right over Kongor. So.
Oh yeah, and it will be the third Kongor kill, if I'm not mistaken. That means. Of course, the good old bananas going to be coming out as a result of that. So we'll see if that happens. Now, Magebane, okay, he just sold his boots, and he actually picks up Post Haste, as does Meraxes, actually. So this is definitely that point of the game where you should expect to start seeing more and more of those, perhaps. Again, so now double Post Haste over there. Wretched Hag has had her Post Haste for a while here, but just to reiterate, again, she has hers. Yeah, I mean...
I'm actually surprised we haven't seen them earlier because you can abuse Post Haste quite nicely with Ophelia. With the, like, say Complexity's pushing bottom, and you're sitting down there for a long time, and you just can't find the right opening. Or actually, maybe in this case, mid because the racks are exposed. But your top lane is getting pushed out, or something like that. You send them back with Ophelia, you push out, then you come back immediately with Post Haste. It's a very effective tool. So I'm surprised they actually haven't done that earlier.
Well, I got it now. Bottle just purchased by my notes right there. That's actually kind of interesting, but he's doing it because he's sitting right next to a tablet of damage here, the double damage rune, so he's actually having it delivered And they're going to bottle it up, I guess, going into a fight. So it's so odd to see a bottle purchased at 66 minutes into a game now. But, again, it kind of makes sense. He actually bought it for Wretched Hag, who, again, she still has that extra inventory slot. So she actually puts it in there, and she has a double damage rune now to work with. And she will be hitting very, very hard. She's already hitting for 336. Obviously, the double damage will be that much more. So,
yeah.
And once again, they're going to group up. And this is actually, I think, even better timing. You see the middle creep wave. It's already there at the base of Complexity. So they are somewhat having to defend that currently. How's the Sacrificial Shrine looking? It's regen a good amount of life, but still, it's still being down about 1,000 here. It's obviously a good amount of damage still on it. And here we go. Trademark Esports, once again, going to keep Complexity on their toes. And make a bit of a push here. Everyone on Complexity does have buyback still, including that Mage Bane especially. So again, the important thing to keep in mind here.
Sadly, no buyout on Franzi or Chessie for this upcoming T-fight. By the way, Franzi did pick up an Abyssal Skull, so like I said, that was going to be very needed for the rest of the team fights, and now has that to work with for Mage Bane especially.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, an important item to have, especially at this late game stage. That is a good point. Actually, Moomiator doesn't have the money for the buyback. I just meant has the option to have a buyback, but needs to farm up a little bit more if he wants it. He's actually farming the bottom lane in the meantime, but here we go. That jump in from Pebbles. Jump in. Morax is right there. Morax is going to be Sword Spirit in the background, and Haxor putting some damage onto Torture. Heal coming out from Ophelia, but Torture will fall. So a great job from Haxor right there. Gets the kill. It ends up being, no, Beacon actually survived. There's a root coming out, actually. There's the second Tempest ultimate that catches Keeper the Force. Moraxis jumps back in. Sword Spirit going to be used. Pot Keeper the Force will fall. Pebbles is still alive, but Mage Bane's doing so much damage right here. Being played by Haxor, and Limp being locked in with a Savage Mace procs, and Limp will fall. Quad kill for action. Are we going to see an Annihilation? No, we're not. Beacon steals it, but they clean up. That's what matters, but look at the Shrine. It's lost a little bit of life. Once again, the invulnerability is going to be used, but they should be able to fight it off. Now, buyback situation for tdM. Only Limp can buy back currently. Everyone else is going to be dead. This is going to be huge now for Complexity. As down as they are as far as the base situation, they're going to be able to make up a lot right here. Look at Haxorin. He's going straight for the racks.
Yeah, like you mentioned, you do have a buyout on Pebbles. He's going to have to buy out. Like right now, he's going to have to buy out. Racks are getting pummeled right now. He buys out. The glyph is used. That's probably going to force Mage Bane to go back just a little bit, and maybe wait for maybe wait for the rest of his team to get up there. But he pops up Geometer's Bane, and that was just uncharacteristically bad positioning from Zai. He got picked off. He was way too far up. And got picked off. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, he blinked in aggressively. Obviously, there's so many things going on, but I didn't notice that. He blinked in aggressively, going for a kill or whatnot, and just got tunnel vision, got focused down, and got turned on, and he just he went pop. And again, he didn't even have buybacks, even if he had the money for it. He is going to be resurrecting here, but the damage is already done. They got the melee racks in the middle and the bottom lane. So in that sense, they are now up. But again, obviously, Complexity, their Shrine has taken a good amount of damage here, and they still need to always have that in mind. But are you getting to a point for Trademark? Do you just look to dive the Shrine at this point? I mean, you know invulnerability's down for a decent amount of time here. Is this just get up, group up, and push that Shrine?
You actually really could. Yeah. Like, if you did man up and just kind of spread out and just kind of and use the Keeper ultimate to kind of disjoint them a little bit, you have the Shrunken Heads, and actually, Pebbles has sold his Shrunken Head. He has a Demonic Breastplate.
Huh. Interesting.
Is he buying? Maybe he bought a new one. Yeah, he bought a new one. Okay, never mind. So he has the new Shrunken Head. Perhaps, maybe that's what we're going to see. And I got to say, oh yeah, one word for that whole team fight basically was Storm Spirit. Like they went on to Miraxis, nearly killed him. Storm Spirit saved him, and then he ultimately turned the entire team fight. Yeah. So it's a huge pickup. Good job by Chessie. You can't ignore that fact. It was a very, very good job by Chessie. So
here we go. Here we go. Obviously with the pause going right through it, thanks to the replay. But here we go. We're now, what, coming up to 71 minutes 71 minutes here. Again, this is game number 2 here at the Grand Finals. Complexity's up 1-0. And now if Complexity was to win this, that means we go to our second series. If tdM's to win this, though, we go to our third and what could be a final game, depending on what happens there. So, again, just kind of a quick recap on what we're looking at here. But look at the bottom lane, man, the creep waves down here. The Hellborn team getting a mass push. And actually, Wretched Hag going to port back to it. So that'll signal for Complexity that they don't necessarily need to be too worried just yet as far as something crazy happening. There's a Pound just sitting up here, by the way, at the top lane, just kind of chilling there. Wonder if any team realizes. But at this rate, it looks like, obviously, the whole diving the Shrine at this point, whether invulnerability is going to be coming up here. You'll also have to deal with the double Tempest ultimate again, as the Restoration Stone has about 50-second cooldown left. So the idea of that happening may not be as ideal anymore. if tdM did want to try to pull that off. So instead, we're going to go back to a little bit more passive. Now, coNGor, the third attempt here, is sitting there, but both teams have it heavily warded. Well, not even heavily, but just warded. So we'll see. coNGor could be that big fight once again, though. Seems like he always is the case in the games like this.
Well, good job by Franzi. Right after they got that big exchange, he warded up the important parts, which is, again, his favorite ward right there, right next to coNGor, and then, of course, right at the bottom room to spot something out. Hag does bottle up a haste rune. Arguably a little bit better than double damage at this point in the game because you can just maneuver yourself and position yourself properly. And hopefully for his sake, seeing how his position actually was quite bad in that last team fight, it needs to be much better in the fight to follow.
So, man, this game, though, exhausting stuff. I'm sure not only for us but the players, but it's something tells me we're going to have some pretty crazy finishing here. I think that just goes without saying even, but well, here we go. coNGor's being attempted. Now, this Franzi warded side here, it's spotting everything. So, of course, Complexity, they're very aware. And look at Trademark Esports. They immediately start falling back as soon as they have a hint of Complexity maybe heading over. So, not going to go for it committed by any means. They'll fall back for the time being and continue to farm themselves. As well, Complexity, of course, 6,600 gold on Haxerin. Again, where does he go from here? The Shrunken Head, did he rebite again? I mean, it's
There's
still...
no point not. As long as he can save up for. Yeah, he has a 10-second one.
So he has another 10-second one. I wonder if that's just because he rebotted again or if he actually didn't use any charges yet. But anyways, he has another 6,600 plus gold saved up. Again, he could still sell that Wing Buzz you're going back to and maybe go for, well, I guess even still something like that Brutalizer.
They don't have a demonic breastplate. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, that's actually a very viable. Uh-oh, we could have initiation here. Look at the triple archers taken over by Chessie.
Yeah,
that's pretty funny right there.
Oh,
can you see that? Oh, here we go. Pebbles jumps on Tempest. Actually, Tempest going to be cut out. He'll get bursted down immediately. Ophelia gets cut as well. And that's a huge pickoff for Trademark Esports right there. Now, Moonmeander does buy back the root on a Magebane. However, the Circuit is up, but he's taking a lot of damage. Maraxis jumps in with a quick, but Magebane will fall. No, he got ported back. Chessie ported him back in time. He'll stay alive. And actually, Maraxis will get the counter go on an engineer, but at what cost right here? Beak is in a lot of trouble. He's taking the damage. In the meantime, Zai in the foreground. He picks off Haxerin, actually, who's coming back. And actually, Maraxis will be picked off. So, wow, that was pretty crazy. Now, of course, Magebane does have a buyback.
Yeah.
Moonmeander is up. He already bought back. Needs to be careful, by the way. He's pushed up somewhat. But Magebane does have a buyback. Chessie does not actually. Wow, he doesn't have enough gold at 1,600. That's pretty crazy.
Haxerin actually never got got sent back. He was manning up. It was 1 versus 1 Hag versus Magebane for a good 6 seconds. And actually, Hag came out on top with very little HP.
Here we go, though. Magebane buys back, and look at that. tdM immediately reacts, but look at the Shrine again. Need to be careful. How about the bottom lane, though? Holy crap. That is a massive Hellborn push going on from the creep wave. So Trademark Esports, as Zai does right here, and needs to be very careful about that, as he will Sonar Scream again here and take out a good amount of them. But ooh, he's taking some damage, man. I mean, those are not some light-hitting creeps by any means.
Yeah.
Zai.
Oh, my God.
Zai.
Dear God.
You're living life on the edge. All right, so where do we stand now? Look at this. Oh, coNGor being ninja. There is a warded side here, but it is dropping very, very quickly, and they have to worry about their base. I think this is going to work for Complexity. It is. Moraxis maybe going to get that token of life here.
Yeah.
Bananas, remember, will also drop as a result of this. Probably going to go to Moonmeander. There we go. Bananas are picked up. Token of life actually on. It was the opposite.
That's the smarter route. That's the smarter route. Because you can get bursted down so fast on Tempest that you can't even use those. So having the token of life is going to be the better idea. I will say, though, in general, this is a better position for tdM. Even though they lost that Rax, they know, despite the fact having the token of life up onto B-Kid, they know that he has no buyout, Haxerin has no buyout, Moon has no buyout.
Yeah.
They get the kill on them. The game is over.
Oh, yeah. Not the other side, though. Limpers, I don't have any buyouts.
Yeah, I mean, it goes both ways, but I think that because you have more targets that are a threat from the Legion side than you do on the Hellborn side is working out in their favor.
It's really Haxerin. You get him down, I mean, they're not winning the fight in the end, more than likely. So, whew, what a game, what a game. Now, Complexity, they are going to push the top lane, but again, you have to keep in mind the middle. That Shrine has already taken some good damage this game. It's regenerated quite a bit, but it is exposed. So Complexity needs to be very, very careful about that and not get too tunnel visioned in terms of getting occupied down here. Now, they're pushing the top lane, the middle, or the bottom lane more so. That's the one that's being heavily pushed in favor of the Hellborn team, so it kind of goes for tdM as well. They need to be careful not to stop worrying about that And keep that in mind. Now, Complexity is going to start falling back. 5,700 gold on Mage Bane. Now, remember, he does not have any buybacks, so that's just gold. You know, where do we go from here? Do you buy the courier? Do you? Well, what do you do? I mean,
honestly, I said this before. I honestly think Genjuro is pretty damn good. I'm not even trolling, but just the fact that you can go in and out of a team fight with extra movement speed, you can slow them through their shrunken heads twice, and I just think it's an overall big, beefy, high god tier item. I'm not even kidding that, or he rebuys his shrunken head for like the 6th time.
That seems like that's at least the 4th time.
Yeah, it needs to happen. But they still have a demonic breastplate on the team. Like, actually, Chessie's in the works of buying it, but has a Soul's Bulwark at almost 80 minutes. Like, that's like a 15-minute item, if even that.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of really surprised about that. But yeah.
At least I got the Soul's Bulwark part of it now, and that is a majority of it. Oh my god.
There we go.
There you go. And he did it for the wing bow, or the Savage Mace instead of the wing bow.
That's better.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you want the attack speed to
True.
go with the Doombringer.
Okay.
I thought Savage was a bad pickup in general.
Doombringer. Here we go.
Yeah.
524 maximum damage coming out here for Haxorin. The dude is hitting like a truck. That's, of course, what Doombringer does. We have a Doombringer in this game, ladies and gentlemen. That's where we have gone. Again, we're 78 minutes in, so if it's ever going to be picked up, it's in games like this. Unbelievable. Here we go. Bananas on Moraxis.
YOLO.
Tempest with that token of life still. Passive game.
Yeah.
Passive game we have here between these two teams. Again, with where we're at, not too surprising especially, but both teams, they know that they need to really keep in mind their base. They cannot get too occupied elsewhere and get tunnel vision, because even if they end up winning that fight, it's like, oh, by the way, your base is dead and you just lost the game. So Demonic Breastplate actually just straight up purchased by Moraxis. So they had the Soul's Bulwark on Chessie, but I guess
this is YOLO mode, man.
Indeed. Here we
YOLO
go.
mode indeed. They finally have their Abyssal Skull up on the Pebbles. That's going to be good. Look at it. He's hitting for 455 damage. And then a Doombringer on the hack. He says, he ones up you. He says, I see your Doombringer and I match you.
I love it. We have
YOLO!
a double Doombringer. Have we ever seen a double Doombringer? I don't know if we have.
I think we have.
I don't know. I know we've seen one before several times, but two? I mean, we probably have, but still, holy crap. We have two Doombringers in this game. Oh, yeah, here we go. Here we go. Moraxis. Now, Mage Bane isn't showing himself. Oh, he is going to right here. So, now look at the bottom. The bottom's being pushed in by the creep wave. The middle, however, also being by the Legion team. But, again, the benefit there is that Complexity has the melee racks down in the middle. So, at least it's not going as fast. You do have Wretched Hag down here at the bottom lane. She's cleaning it up for the time being. We have a epic fight brewing up here at the top lane. I can guarantee that. And what could possibly be the game right here. Again, the lack of buybacks for either side. You get Mage Bane dead right off the bat, you pretty much won the game there. Vice versa for the Hellborn team. If you get perhaps that Hag killed or even the Pebbles right off the bat, things could be looking really good for you. Now, Moraxis is going to stand his ground. Again, he has the bananas. He's just a very tanky hero in general. This is obviously what Complexity needs to be doing, kind of baiting him out right here. Middle lane. Look at the middle lane. It's being pushed in.
I can totally see Zai just like TPing in there while they initiate a fight. Like, you initiate a fight, you jump on them, force them to start fighting you, and then Zai ports back.
Yeah. Okay, ports are coming out here from the Hellborn team, so they are going to fall back and defend. Now, actually, the Legion team may pick off some people here.
Chessie was spotted.
Oh, Chessie. As was Glacius.
No.
Actually, Zai is a chase, and he can nearly 2-shot, 3-shot some of these guys. But he's not going to commit to it in the end. Now look at the bottom. And now the Legion team will have to pour back. Oh, boy. Here we go.
Yeah. Actually, Chessie, sorry, that was Zai was spotting Mage Bane running through the mid creep wave directly to his teammates to help him out. So he knew that blinking in there, despite the fact that he could kill him in like three attacks, would not be the smartest decision.
Conqueror is not there, so I'm not sure why Complexity's in this area. I guess just for the rune simply. It is going to be an illusion rune, not the biggest in the world, but at least they'll pick up a rune. So again, now they're going to push back, and this obviously makes the most sense. You push back the middle lane, and then maybe you go to the top lane here. If not, go for the World Tree yourselves. I said that earlier with tdM. Are we getting into a case where you just think about diving the Shrine or the World Tree in this case? So we'll see what they do. Moraxis off to the side. Okay, he's going to tank the creep wave right here. You see a Ward of Sight placed by Insania, giving us some good vision. And look at what Mage Bane's doing with the illusions. He's sending them up here, but Torture says, no, you ain't going to do that. He picks them off, and they'll be dead for now. So, Hellborn team, though, they are somewhat grouped up here. Really trying to bait this Moraxis, as you would expect, but Trademark Esports isn't having any of that just yet, but they will need to think about doing something here in the near future because this could get deadly. Now, you made a great point there. You have to keep in mind the post-haste on Wretched Hag especially. She could have, here we go though, Keeper of the Forest going to be jumped in, Tempest with the follow-up, Mage Bane jumping as well, Keeper of the Forest being locked down, and Keeper of the Forest will fall right there. He does have a buyback, Sheepstick on a Tempest. Tempest is falling now, he has a token of lives, he's going to come right back up. Look at Mage Bane though, beating on a Hag. Hag blinks away at the last second though, she'll be fine. Mage Bane being countered, there's the root, Mage Bane going to be Storm Spirit though, the Tempest ultimate going to pull the man, that catches Keeper of the Forest, Storm Spirit going to be used, but he's still pulled back in, the Quakes on top of it, the second Tempest ultimate, Mage Bane locking them down. With the auto attacks, Pebbles will fall, and so will Keeper of the Forest, and I believe Complexity may just. Oh, Mage Bane falls! Are you kidding me? Engineer picks
Zai with the quad kill, he's going for the Annihilation!
Quad kill! Oh, he doesn't get the Annihilation, but Noobju with the final kill. They hold it off for now. That may have done it for tdM. That may have done it. Engineer has the Doombringer, has one of them. Zai is still alive. He's going straight for the Shrine. Oh,
YOLO!
The game might be over.
Chessie is there. He's using some health potions quickly. He's running there, and it's gonna be basically a Hag standing off against Chessie on this Ophelia.
Absolutely no chance.
He's going for the
Ophelia.
racks. It looks like he doesn't want to go for the Shrine. He maybe thinks the Shrine has too much HP, so he's gonna go for the racks. He's gonna take those down in like 10 auto attacks or something like that. Chessie knows he can't really do anything. They actually popped the glyph. I don't know if I really agree with that. And here he goes actually for the Shrine. He knows he has at least 34 seconds until anyone else responds. He's kiting these creeps. And actually a blink onto Ophelia. Chessie trying to pull out any stops he can to defending this Shrine.
God.
But now he has some help with the Doombringer up onto Engineer. Yep. We're going to have double Doombringer action onto the Sacrificial Shrine, even using the ulti to prevent the creeps from getting in. A couple more auto attacks. They're kiting those creeps.
Engineer!
Want to get that Sacrificial Shrine down. A couple more auto attacks, and it actually will go down.
That's how it'll finish. Are you kidding me? Wow. Wow. Wow, what a game. What a freaking game. Unbelievable. Now, you know, we've had epic moments here on HoNcast, but that had to be one of the most epic moments we have ever had. I mean, okay, so looking back at the last fight, and I'm actually, you know what? I'm actually going to pull up the replay real quickly because I want to double check, you know, make exactly sure, you know, how low Wretched Hag got. She got very low initially right there. Now, if she died, I mean, that fight would have been in favor of Complexity.
She got pretty low. I mean, she definitely had a blink up and ready to go, but
yeah.
I think the biggest thing, honestly, was the first Storm Spirit onto Keeper of the Forest after he bought back, came back in, got actually hold again by Tempest, or I should say hold in general by Tempest, and that Storm Spirit onto him was really huge. It mitigated all the damage, all the AoE damage that was happening in the midst of that hole. So.
All right, so here we go. Here's kind of that last fight, kind of instant replay style here. Let's see exactly what happens. So fast forwarding a little bit. So there we go. Moraxis jumps in. Now, just looking at Wretched Hag right here. She's still sitting in the background while this is initiation. Okay, there she blinks in. But you look where she's trying to beat on the Tempest. But now she actually gets locked down here. Oh, we're not even in. Okay, I apologize for that. Here, I'll go back real quickly. Yeah, let's actually get back into the game when we can here in a second. As pretty as we are.
We are.
I know we are good-looking individuals. I want to make sure to get this, though. Hey, Matt. There we go.
All right.
He was doing it. He's a good guy. All right, so here we go. So as you can see, okay, so Wretched Hag blinks in. There's a Sheepstick on a Tempest. They were trying to get him killed, but then Haxorn starts beating on a Wretched Hag. And look at how low he gets. I mean, at the last second, he's barely able to blink away at 300 life. And at this state of the game, that's very, very low. And then, of course, the Tempest ultimate and everything.
There's that Storm Spirit on the Keeper.
There's that Storm Spirit on the Keeper. Mage Bane jumps out. But here comes Zai. He Bat Blast him. That was a great Bat Blast right there. And he's focusing on, okay, he's focusing on Moraxis right there. Mage Bane doing his thing, being locked down. And there you go. He dies. I mean, Torture on top of just Wretched Hag. Just too much damage there in the end for him, it seems like. So. The slow-mo. I like how it gets you to talk slow-mo, too, whenever that happens. All right. Anyways, there you go. The replay coming out. Brought to you by, well, us. Whew. Okay, so that's how it finished. Moraxis didn't use bananas, actually. People are making a point of that. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I don't know if that would have made the ultimate difference by any means, but wow, what a finish. What a finish.
I don't think it matters. You kill Mage Bane, it doesn't matter if your Moraxis used bananas or not. Like
yeah, exactly.
The game is over, or at least the fight is over, and the fact that they were able to rush up there and the Doombringer on Engineer.
Yeah.
I actually think that Chessie maybe could have held it off had Engineer not come up there, so good job by Insania as well.
All right, so now let's see. It looks like, okay, so you have the what's going to be the third game here. So now, where do we stand? Where do we stand? Trademark Esports, they tie up the series. They were up a series coming into these grand finals. So now, if they win this third and final game, it's over. Trademark Esports are officially your Diamond Division Cycle 1 champions.
Yep.
And Complexity will finish runner-up. If Complexity, kind of blocking ourselves,
I'm trying
don't want to
look
see
at
the replay stats. Do what we can. Definitely takes away from it. So, but now if Complexity wins, we'll go with another best of the 3 series. So, hey, it's a kind of, good either way, really. But so we'll see what happens. We are going to take a short break here, though, of course.
Again, please, guys, if you've already, taken the liberty to check it out, don't spoil it for everyone else. Don't spoil it for us. Don't spoil it for the other viewers. There will be consequences. I'm pretty sure moderators are checking the channel, and you will get banned. So just don't do it. It's just not cool. Anyway, we all want to see a great game. Shout out to all the viewers tuning in. It was a pretty epic game. Well, actually, game 2, because Complexity took that first game. So, like Frankie said, it's 1-1 right now in the first series. Complexity has to take this next one to compete in the next series.
Well, sit tight, guys. We have our Game 3 coming up of what could be the end, or we could have another series ahead of us. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be back. Myself, Breaking CVP, at Travel Door. Game 3 coming up next.